Ah, the national anthem of every otaku out there. This one opened with the Girlz versus Mojo, so yeah, nothing new here. Wonder what Keen Sensei is up to. Well, still a better love story than Delicious Party. But yeah, with Keen having broken up with her Moman partner, hopefully doesn't go join the MCU, she was on the rebound, which Mojo would learn about after watching a little news. Well, this is kind of timely. Yeah, fun fact of this video, mountainous Japanese areas like Yamaguchi, or even where the characters are going to go in just a bit, have been having monkey problems, specifically with Mojo species, the macaque, who for the longest time have been terrorizing them more than actual Yakuza. Those guys are actually on the decline. But yeah, that's probably why they made this version of the character more of a troublemaker than the OC pretentious genius chimp of the OG. I mean, for one thing, this version sucked at maintaining the upkeep of his equipment. Though he also did do this bit a couple of years before his OG counterpart.
Kurt, no! You know what? That's it. I'm done. I quit.
Legit, I do wonder if this is one thing that the OG took from this anime. In any case, at least it did lead to one of the best gags of this franchise. But yeah, with the series nearing its end, and the monkey not having accomplished anything, Mojo became the most relatable character as he suffered from burnout. Thus, he decided to take a vacation to the hot springs and would quickly find company with Keen. Though, of course, the horny monkey tried to catch her on the rebound, which also caught the attention of the girls. No, if only the show had come out a few years later, we could have made some great memes out of these faces. They ended up going to Nikko, a city known for its hot springs, and more appropriately for this episode, the Toshogu Shrine, where the image of the three wise monkeys originated from. You know, these guys. And yet, in spite of all this legit interesting history and background, Keen couldn't stop thinking about her underground ex. Thus, Mojo tried to show the best side of himself, which he kinda managed to do thanks to the other monkeys of the area treating him like an alpha male. And thanks to this, the wing monkeys managed to score him a free room at what was likely a really expensive inn, and, well... You know, this might be the first time in a long while I've actually wanted to use this meme. With that, they went to the hot springs, and thankfully, before this video could get demonetized, Winnow returned whilst being dumped by his new girlfriend, and literally rebounding back to Keen Sensei. Again, I have to emphasize how this show sometimes feels way too real. The girls quickly defeated him after having dealt with some of his wing monkeys, and the first half of the episode ended with the beta monkey declaring they'd get back to business the next day, or more specifically, right in the next segment. After literally taking candy from a baby, Mojo considered ways he could more easily defeat the girls. Well, someone clearly has watched the OG. Good thing too, because I don't think he would like to see what his counterpart has gone through. However, the crab devil heard him, and likely figured that even if Mojo didn't destroy the girls, he could at least destroy the franchise with that sort of a wish. Nah, of course I kid. Super was the thing that ruined the franchise. Anyway, after a really hilarious gag of the girls giving some of the most menacing smiles to Mojo before they sent him blasting off again, they decide to get some lollipops of their own after seeing the kid enjoy his. However, him laced them with his particles, resulting in... Well, I guess every magical girl has to get at least one of these. Though, at least in this case, it did also further tie back to the OG, with the girls looking even more like their counterparts. And hey, at least they didn't go in the other direction. Ugh. Interestingly though, while they also seem to have their memories reset back to their younger years before they even met the profs, they also refer to themselves by their superheroine identities. Was it because they were still transformed, or is this going all the way with the callback?
Nobody knows.
But yeah, with his mortal enemies now reduced down to bite-sized versions of themselves, Mojo took a little too much pleasure in this fact. Mojo, you're already on a list because of the last segment. Don't put yourself on another, much worse one. However, while they were smaller, the girls still had all of their powers, if not more, again putting them more on par with their OG counterparts. I guess one possible reason for this is that they have a lot less restraint in their younger years, and thus don't even mind causing a little property damage, which was one of the major concessions the city of Townsville had to make when letting the PPG be their saviors. Whatever the case, it just meant that this version of Mojo now had to suffer the same woes as his OG. At this time, we would like to say that we of this channel do not advocate for the mistreatment of animals. Now if you excuse me, I'm gonna go make some popcorn. Yeah, I'm not kidding when I say this is one of the most entertaining segments of this whole anime, as they were trying to do their own version of the usual Mojo torture from the OG. It was the kind of slapstick that I really do enjoy, as not only was it being incredibly over the top, so you can't take the monkey abuse that seriously, but it was also being inflicted on a bad monkey. I mean, let's not forget, this is following that first segment where Mojo was being a bit of a creep, and now he was trying to exterminate the girls while they were just toddlers. Though, to be fair, he does start to warm up to them, likely due to his exhaustion killing off some of his malicious intents. Thus, we did also get a few wholesome moments when he tucked them in for a nap. He still wanted to get them, but like something out of a Looney Tunes cartoon, he just couldn't do it. Fortunately for him, he figured out a way he could both defeat and treat them at the same time by giving them a ton of ice cream to give them brain freezes. However... Okay, that's actually a pretty clever twist. The him particles would take after their creator, and thus would also be weak against the cold, which would include body temperature in this case. As a result, the girls returned to normal, and gave Mojo one last blasting off again. With that, the episode ended with him revealing that he was also into Pilates like his OG, and the profs enjoying their lollipops that were also laced with the particles. I gotta say, this was a really fun episode, mostly due to the fact that it does borrow a lot from the OG. That, of course, isn't necessarily a bad thing, as it is a good source to take from, especially in regards to its comedy. The possible issue there, of course, being that some of the jokes might feel a little too familiar, especially if you've seen as many Mojo episodes as me. And yet, I do think that this version of Mojo is different enough from his OG counterpart that seeing him experience misfortune has its own unique flavor to it. Now, if I am going to be honest, I do think the OG Mojo has the Z version beat just in terms of how much they made me laugh. Though to be fair, comedy is very subjective, and this version of the character does have its own fun eccentricities. The first half of this episode actually showed how significant the species change from chimp to mountain monkey that's still causing mischief in Japan to this day was. Just like those real-life primates, Mojo's attempts at winning over Keen-sensei could be seen as a cry for attention, as no one was giving him any sort of real acknowledgement. And while he ultimately didn't get the girl, as he was being a bit of a creeper monkey, it was still kind of endearing. From there, the second half of this episode was pretty much this show's take on child fearing, with Mojo becoming the reluctant babysitter to some super adorable and yet more powerful versions of the Z team. And again, it was just fun, fast-paced slapstick, with the setting of an amusement park being a good location for some very relatable torture. Seriously, try taking your niece to Disneyland to experience hell firsthand. But yeah, while his role in the show wasn't quite over yet, this was still a good capper for a character who really lives up to his title of butt monkey of this show. And overall, this was just a really fun episode with little bits of sweet wholesomeness mixed in with a lot of painful comedy, which is my favorite combination. Since we are pretty far into it, I do feel comfortable announcing that for our next big video project, we'll be turning back the clock to the OG of the Pretty Cure franchise. Obviously, we're mostly doing it to celebrate the next series that'll be the 20th anniversary of the franchise, even though it's technically the 19th, but we also do want to compare it with some more modern series and see how it holds up. Look forward to it, and until then though, farewell for now my friends, and oh, aren't you that chimp from that Nope movie? Oh crap.